Hey Jay,
Hi.
do you have any idea about test cases?
Yeah, it's just a Excel sheet containing some colorful rows and columns.
Oh my god, this is a vague answer. So let me give a small idea about test cases. According to the IEEE standard, you can define test case as a set of test inputs, conditions and expected result developed for a certain objective, and such as will execute certain program path or
Okay.
will do verify compliance with the requirement, specific requirement.
What's that? Can you explain it?
Yeah, I will give a simplify with a small example. Like suppose user clicks on a reset change password button, so you can consider that as a test input or the user action. Suppose an anonymous user is using that application with the same credentials,
Okay.
so that is a condition. So what would the expected output is like the anonymous user should be logged out.
Yeah.
And the objective over here is like the security of an application. So in 2 lines we can define it with tester's point of view. Like test case is that which gives condition to the tester to verify or validate certain feature or functionality of an application or system.
Yeah, that's great. But I fear I have a difficult situation with the test cases actually. But from the pure testing perspective, you think of like I feel the bunch of test cases only what they do is they just distract the user, the distract the QA basically from testing very serious or in deep. So for in that case, what I think is like the testers what we can provide them is just with a good design document which they can follow.
Yeah.
And as you know, like what only executing the test cases doesn't mean like you are testing it. And this is what I wanted to say. And one question lingering in my mind is like, don't you think like if we assign a QA with hell lots of test cases, it is going to waste his time?
It's time consuming, but not wastage of time, because we can't ignore the benefits of a test case. Suppose we are running a big project like 1.5 years it's running.
Okay.
So we can reuse the test case which we have prepared for. Like we have prepared a test case for a cookie testing for a screen, and we can reuse that same test case for testing a different screen. And for tracing, we can use the traceability matrix to trace the requirement through test cases. And about repeatability, we can use that same test case which we have written and execute that while doing regressive testing up to 2, 4, and 8 months.
Yeah.
So that instead saves resource and time. But what I can do, you can't do. I can do a 90% test coverage. But can you?
I can't show 90% test coverage, but I can't show 100% either. I mean, do you really think like this test coverage signifies the quality of product? So in my opinion, like if a person is left with the good test design or the use cases itself, so that will suffice his need. He can perform the testing based on that. Actually, what I think is like if we provide them with the use cases, they can directly use their conscience to find the bugs. I mean, by doing some exploratory testing, what they can do, I mean, they may come up with some of the bugs which may not be defined in your test case.
Yeah.
And basically it's going to help your product also. Okay. And I just want to place one example where I had a lots of test cases. Okay. So it was around 10,000 test cases for a project. Okay. So for the first time I went through all, but for the second regression time it was like I went through lesser than 5,000. And for the third time, so it's like that empty. And what about like if your team is following some agile development methodologies, because nowadays companies are moving towards that.
Yeah.
And over there, like the features are designed on the fly, and you never know what your product is going to be like. Okay, so how do you manage in that way?
Yeah, and in my experience, I have gone through a project where the sprint was 15 days.
Okay.
So we created one test case for sprint 1, and there was a requirement like the login screen will not have any special character.
Okay.
It will not accept. But when we go to sprint 2, the requirement is like we'll accept @username. So we went back to the test case for sprint 1 and we edited and updated there and commented there. And we executed the same sprint 1 test cases. So it passed, and we can manage with that.
Yeah, that's fine. But yeah, it would be really helpful, I think, nowadays, because every company is following the agile methodology. every then and now the requirements are going to change. So it's basically fine. It would be like easy if they follow some of the use cases or the user stories directly, because the test doc design or the use cases are the only thing that talk directly to the customer to find the basis of your testing.
So, in this world, the testing is now become a real challenge.
It is.
Because we are getting a requirement in different shapes, and it's truth like there is nothing which fits all.
Yeah.
So we need to stop and assess the requirement what we have, and in some instances you are going to create a comprehensive test case to fit your test plan.
Yeah.
And in some requirement like agile methodology, we need to focus more on exploratory testing, and instead we have a casual documentation in there. So we somehow fall in the middle of that.
Yeah, we all know, however, like you can say, how fancy you make your test cases or test plans, they are not going to help unless and until like what a tester should do is like he should have the good domain knowledge and the application knowledge. That is only the thing which is going to help him. So, and he should have some freedom of doing the exploratory testing, which would like will really helpful for the product actually. And in my opinion, if you ask, like unless the context demands, we shouldn't write the detailed test cases. It's just a sheer sin.
Yeah.